Welcome to Silver Screen Prints, where I make t-shirt designs based on my favorite movies. Today I'm drawing a design based on Arnold Schwarzenegger's first movie, the 1982 John Milius cult classic, Conan the Barbarian. If you haven't seen it, fair warning, there's going to be some spoilers. And by some, I mean the entire video. Long story short, it's about a kid who watches his entire village get murdered at the hands of a secret reptilian cult leader.
Get it out of the way.
Don't mention the reptiles. They'll just laugh at you again. I said, I know.
Who also used to be Darth Vader, which explains his disregard for children and moms. Sorry, wrong mom. This scene was originally supposed to be even more graphic and had to be, cut? Anyway, young Conan becomes a slave. And while being a slave always sucks,
these men here work for the minimumest of wages, grits, and tattered clothes.
He had a particularly bad situation. He had to push this giant millstone for probably 20 years, but he did get legit swole. So they took him off his Wheel of Pain duty and made him a gladiator. But in Conan's case, it was in a less glamorous setting than the Colosseum. It looked more like a cockfight. But I guess he impressed his master so much that he eventually freed him. They don't actually say that. I just kind of assume that's what happened. It never made a whole lot of sense to me from the master's point of view. He kind of seemed a little drunk in this scene. But then again, it never made much sense to me that someone could keep Conan captive against his will without a gun or something. But whatever, he got freed. Oh, by the way, I apologize to those of you who were here primarily for an art tutorial. It gets boring just talking about the process, you know? But I will segue for a minute and show you that I finished drawing my design on the Wacom tablet, and am now tracing it on a silkscreen with Speedball drawing fluid. And then after that part's done, I squeegee it with the red screen filler, and spray the screen with a hose, which will spray off the blue drawing fluid, but leave the red filler. This allows the screen printing ink to pass through the positive part of the design onto the shirt. Now getting back to Conan, he magically stumbles into a tomb where his dead dad's sword just happens to be. From there, he hooks up with a witch, meets a friend, punches a camel, you know, regular bro-man, dude-man stuff. But in typical fashion, he met a girl and settled down. The end. Well, not actually. He gets bored and agreed to kidnap a princess from the same reptilian cult leader who chopped his mom's head off. Long story short, he met a wizard, beat up a gay priest and stole his robe, and got crucified. All in the same 24 hours. And kind of like Jesus, he rose from the dead. I don't know much about the lore of the original books, but I assume Robert E. Howard was cripping some ideas from the gospel. There are some major Christ parallels throughout this movie. I'm sure someone has done an analysis of this, but since this is supposed to be a t-shirt printmaking video, I'm probably getting a little carried away. Speaking of coming back from the dead, my original screen with the blue drawing fluid didn't work out. I think it was because it was kind of old and I just didn't mix it very well. Sorry, I don't really have a Conan metaphor for this. I'm just telling you what happened. So I decided to do a white print on a black t-shirt, using only the screen filler to draw with. It is a much more viscous fluid, which is also much harder to remove with water, which is kind of the point. I have to use bleach and a pressure washer to clean this stuff off. And speaking of making a huge mess, while I was talking about screen printing, Conan, his girl, and his best friend make a huge mess at the reptilian cult leader's house, and ran off with his main squeeze, the princess he agreed to kidnap. So, of course, the reptilian cult leader killed Conan's girl with a snake that he turned into an arrow. You know, regular bro-man, dude-man stuff. Anyway, Conan and his buddy kill the reptilian guy's henchman with the help of his dead girlfriend, who is a ghost dressed up like an opera singer. And then Conan goes back to the cult leader's house to cut his head off and roll it down the stairs like Montezuma. And that's pretty much it. Conan becomes a king or something. Don't bother watching the sequel, it's kind of pointless. Speaking of pointless, here's the shirt I printed. Sorry I didn't show the actual printing, but I think you all know what squeegeeing ink through a screen looks like. Oh, and don't forget to make sure the fabric is super flat. You can see I got some wrinkle streaks in this thing. And the screen I used was a 230 mesh, which is way too fine a mesh for white plastisol ink, just FYI. go for a 110 or maybe something a little higher. They're cheaper too. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. I'll probably do the Gangs of New York next. It'll be a good time.